Hello you lovely people and welcome. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Shrike Simulation's F-86F Sabre. Now you can see I've got it in the hangar, so have a look at the liveries. So you get 13 in all. A few display teams, majority United States Air Force, but there are some foreign users here. So you've got the Royal Canadian Air Force Golden Hawks, a Royal Canadian livery, Air Force livery there. A USAF, this one I recognise as the 92nd Fighter Interceptor Squadron. They were based out of RAF Shepherd's Grove before moving on to RAF Bentwaters Woodbridge under the 81st Tactical Fighter Wing. Eventually was a Fighter Interceptor group, but then moved on to a fighter wing. That one I'll be using in the flying. Your standard recognisable classic Sabre livery with the yellow bands. Then we've got the Frecce Tricolori, number 6, Hellenic Air Force, Royal Australian Air Force, Royal Norwegian Air Force, the Sky Blazers, another squadron that was based in the UK, which I recognise the Ace of Spades, but the designation leaves me at the moment for some reason. Along with this one as well, that's very recognisable. We've got another USAF one then, and a in-house North American company livery. So like I say, I'm going to go with the 92nd Fighter Interceptor Squadron, and we are going to fly from Duxford. Now just before we get into it, just a bit of information on this module. It basically is the old Blackbird Simulations, what was Milviz. This is their F-86, which Shrike has taken, built a native flight model, and made it is what it is. And it was a fantastic plane back in FSX, when I used it, because I owned it back then. And I've got to say, it looks absolutely fantastic inside. Really nicely worn interior. Look at the old school, look at the rubbing on the leather, on the armrests, the switches, and all the old school dials. I absolutely love it. I own the F-86 in DCS and know how complicated getting one of these old things up and running is. Obviously it's not going to be as in depth on this variant, and I'm quite happy with that, because it is a lovely aircraft, and majority of the systems work on this. Ones that don't will have in-op next to them, and yeah, I can't believe for the price of just well, it's $19.99, so just around about £16, you're getting the quality that is actually in this whole module setup, which obviously I'm going to show you. So we've got the lovely wear and tear around the A-frame there, and we've got a choice of GPS. The weapons panel down here turns into transponder. If we click this here, as you can see, all the weapons bits come back on again. So we've got our classic setup. So we've got G meter here, hydraulic pressure, radio compass. This one is our speed in knots, our Mach number, altimeter, and then DC volts and a clock and load. And then we've got a turn slip indicator here, a VVI, fuel quantity, cabin pressure, fuel flow, RPM, fuel pressure, exhaust temperatures, an artificial horizon, a slave/gyro magnetic compass, and oil pressure. All the major systems that you need to keep the bird running. On the right hand side we have an old school ADF tuning radio there, and VHF radio. Back here we've got UHF, and then the IFF. Back here we've got circuit breakers that are clickable, and I believe some of them do work. And then along up here is all your starting panels for lights and engine. Up here we've got fire warning, things like that. Reticle brightness for the gun sight. And then we've got wingspan setting, which you can see says in op, so things you can't use. Radar ranging, you've got another in op there. Fuel filter de-ice, parking brake, and your bomb altitude in op. Canopy open close, we'll do that. Land lights here, and we've got a silencer there for the warning horn. External fuel tank selections, and you can jettison munitions and fuel tanks on this. This is our emergency speed brakes release. Throttle, flaps. This is old school. You have to hold it down to how far you want the flap, bring it back into the middle, and the flaps will stay. There aren't any specific gradients. It's all done by feel, and so that can be a bit of a problem if you're using a normal key binding for different flaps. Then we've got flight controls off, normal and reset. Then we've got different trims which are all inoperable there. Air outlet selector, ammo heat, and then some more circuit breakers along here. Windshield anti-ice, and then auxiliary canopy defrost. So yeah, let's have a look from the outside. I mean, look at that bang seat, the wear from the helmet is absolutely fantastic. Not only do you get 13 different liveries, but apparently the pilot helmets and everything are all different as well. So that's another thing to look into. So let's jump outside and have a look at the livery detail. So looking around the aircraft, you can see that the liveries are absolutely beautiful. The natural metal finish is fantastic, and the wear and tear around the top of the wing here, where people have been walking up and down it and from guns firing, really gives it a good look. And obviously underneath you've got oil streaks and things like that. And even the rivets themselves look dirty and grimy. So yeah, I mean, fantastic liveries. Like I say, you get 13 of them. I'm sure there'll be community ones as well if you are a PC user. So let's get this thing up and running. So this being a relatively early jet fighter, it couldn't be started straight off the battery, so it needed a ground power unit. That is all done by this external power switch here. We flick that, we get our ground power unit up and running and connected to the aircraft, supplying external power. Now yeah, let's get the lights on to flash. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the aircraft and we'll listen to the sounds outside of it starting up. So now we'll start to get rid of the ground power unit. What I'm going to do is switch on the gun reticule here, jump back outside, okay, just have a quick walk around, listen to the engine sounds. I'm going to throttle it up a bit. Lovely engine glow in the back there. And smoke as well to go with it. Oh, that sounds beautiful. Around from the front. Okay, you can see that smoke effect. Okay, and as we've got the gun reticule on, if you have water rudder assigned to anything, mine's set to my second position on trigger, you get gun firing. Okay, from the cockpit as well, which is great. Closed canopy now, actually, and bring the throttle down. Shut the gun off now because I don't really need it, and switch the position lights to steady. Okay, and we have our neutral trim light there, telling us that the trim is actually no, actually that's the trim. This one is the hydraulic system indicator, and we're going to reset the controls just quickly there, get that light out. Okay, so it's an old school aircraft, so you need to hold the flaps down to how far you want them and let go. It's going to be a bit of an issue for people who have bindings like me, where it's used to bringing the flaps down to the next notch. This will either go straight down or all the way up for me because of that setting. So, but from the inside you can use the slider to get the flaps where you want them. Also extended the taxi and landing lights. As you can see, I've slightly dropped the flaps, got taxi light going, and as we seem to be ready to go, the pilot now has his goggles down and mask on. We're going to take the parking brakes off, which will remove the chocks, and we'll have a little fly around the airfield, see how it handles, bring it in, and then we'll do the summary. Take the parking brake off, throttle up, just take a little while before we get moving. There we go. Ground handling is what you would expect. It's pretty much even Steven. It's not heavy, it's not light, it's just right. Line up, brakes on. Right then, make sure everything is good to go, which it is. Right, okay, so let's throttle up. Better zero out the altimeter actually, might be a good idea. And brakes off, let's go. Start rotating now. And we're up. Gear up. Flaps up. Okay, so right off the bat the controls are already very responsive in the roll and pitch, and yaw is pretty good as well, even at slow speed. I'm doing about 200 knots at the moment. At 250 knots, let's try a roll. Okay, as I'm not going that quick, don't expect a snap roll. So back now, 300 knots. Do a low pass over Duxford. Yep, responds very nicely to the controls. Giving me a warning that I need geared down, which is not happening at the moment. So ignore that. Okay, so very nice. Get up into a climb. Doing 250 knots, get it over the top. Throttle back. Very nice, yeah. Use the air brakes, slow ourselves down a bit. Okay, excellent. Very, 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 very responsive. Love it. Okay, so let's get some night lighting going on in here and see how it looks in the dark. Okay, here we have the night lighting all set up. Controls down here, there's 3 rheostats, and they control the panel lighting to set how you would like it. I'm very surprised there's no red lighting, to be honest. And if you're flying around and you find that the reflections in the whole reflections in the canopy is an issue, you can click on the mirror and that will take the reflections off. So if we take off the panel lighting in totally, okay, so yeah, pretty comfortable really. It's not going to kill your eyesight, and very subtle. So that's the night lighting. We'll get it back on the ground. We'll have a look at a few more things because we can have external stores, stuff like that, which I've not covered yet, and we'll do that once we get back on the ground. So as I said, we do have external stores which can be jettisoned. So if we go weight and balance, obviously you can have drop tank using the sliders here, both left and right. And then inboard stations, if we do between 900 and 1000, we will get a 500 pound bomb. If we up that to over 1000, so let's change that to 1100, we get 5-inch HVAR rockets. On the outboard stations, we can only do the HVAR rockets. If you want a mixture of HVAR and bombs, you can. I don't believe you can actually use a fuel tank and external stores, but let's check that out while we're here. So let's get that to 0. Okay, so we want left fuel tank. No, that is in the HVAR section there, so get rid of that. But see if we can add a 500 pounder, which we can, or if we want to add rockets, we can, along with our drop tanks. So yeah, the outboard wings can either have fuel tanks or rockets. Inboards can have bomb or rockets. So yeah, it's quite a nice little addition there. Both the fuel tanks and the rockets and bombs are jettisonable, obviously not droppable. And what else is there to show? Believe that's it. But yeah, fantastic for 16 British pounds. It's a no-brainer really. A lot of fun. They did release it on flightsim.to as a freeware without a clickable cockpit, and not so the livery is not looking as good as they do now. Obviously they said at the time they were going to go and make it better, and which they have quite blatantly, with the sounds by Echo 19. We've got good liveries and a whole clickable cockpit with most of it functioning. Easy plane to get in, easy to start up, easy to shut down, easy to fly. What's not to like? It's a classic Cold War jet, and if anyone doesn't like the Sabre, I defy them to try this and not enjoy it. So let's get on to the summary. So summary time. A great solid build with great sounds, solid platform for flying and doing aerobatics and just having a general good old time. Some brilliant liveries that are included with it, and like I say, if you're on PC, I'm sure there'll be more to follow. But yeah, this is fantastic. There's no reason why this shouldn't be in the majority of people's hangars, especially at the price. It's just a top-notch, non-high fidelity, not low fidelity, middle of the road, easy plane to fly, and just like getting into a Cessna 172, just start it up and go. It's lovely. Wish more aircraft were like that sometimes, instead of just going through all those busy checklists. So yeah, if you like your general flying without all the hassle that goes along with it, definitely for you. Awesome work, Shrike Simulations, and thank you for bringing back a classic that I enjoyed very much in my FSX days. So if you got this far, thank you for watching. As always, take care. I'll catch you in the next one.